actually Tuesday morning right now. I just wanted to apologize that we didn't get a Monday video up in time. My grandfather actually flew in from Las Vegas last night, and I don't get to see him very often, so sometimes you got to make adjustments for things that are more important. Nonetheless, I'm bringing you the Monday weekly discussion on Tuesday, so I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to the discussion. Welcome to the Monday video. If you're new to the channel, Monday is always our discussion-based video. I want to say really quick before we get started, if you're following the Mustang Fox body build, we just dropped a video on that yesterday and we started giving hints. So we're on episode number 3. Every time a Fox body video comes out, I'll label it 4i Fox body build and then the number of the episode that we're on. We started dropping hints because we have something big coming up for the Fox body. So you're not going to want to miss that. If you haven't seen the Fox body build video from yesterday or any of the other episodes, make sure you go check them out right now. Yesterday, the first set of hints was dropped, so if you think that you have an idea of what the hints are leading to, drop a comment below that video so I can see if you guys are on the right track. And then the next episode, we will have another hint. So with that, welcome to the discussion. Today, we are going to be talking about why technicians and mechanics get a bad name. So let's get right into it. Why do automotive technicians and mechanics get such a bad rap? All right, so first, you guys, I think it's really important to note that there are bad people every part of the world. So anything you do, you're going to run into bad people once in a while. It just seems like more often than a lot of other professions and other fields and other parts of people's lives, technicians seem to get a pretty bad rap. And today we're going to talk about why. I think the first thing to note, in my opinion at least, let's say 90% of adults across the country, across the USA, and in other parts of the world, and I say adults, I mean once you can have your license, let's just say for discussion purposes that 90% of people drive a car. The vast majority of the population drives a car. So that being said, at some point in time, everyone is going to have to take their car to a shop to get service. So I think that's part of the reasoning. I think it's a very common thing that people have to deal with in their day-to-day lives. Everyone at some point has to take their car to the shop. So for that reason, I think it's more common to hear bad stories because nobody, even if you have a good experience, no one likes going to the shop because that means you're going to have to spend money. So no one's going to talk about, oh yeah, I just had my car fixed. It was great. It cost me $2,000. Oh, and he was a nice guy. That doesn't happen. People remember the bad things. So I think that's the first thing you have to think about when you're addressing this issue is that a lot of people have cars, therefore there's going to be a lot of experiences, and most people are only going to remember the bad stuff. Because like I just said, let's face it, even a good experience at a shop isn't something that the average person necessarily wants to do. The second reason I think technicians get a bad rap is other people's lack of information. And now, I'm not bashing people for not knowing a lot about their cars, but the vast majority of people are not like us. They're not interested in cars. They want to go out, they want to turn the key, and they want it to get them where they want to go. So because they don't take any interest in their vehicles, they don't know about maintaining it, they don't know how anything mechanically works, they don't understand. And let's face it, car repair and general maintenance is expensive nowadays. So anytime that you have a lack of knowledge and having to get people to part with large sums of their money, it's easy for them to be defensive. So if you kind of talk over their head and they know it's going to be expensive, of course people are going to get defensive, and that might turn into them thinking that you're trying to rip them off because they just don't know. It's like myself going to the doctor. I don't know. He could fill me full of crap and I really wouldn't know the difference. So we kind of have a responsibility to treat our customers well, just as in any other aspect of life really, but most people don't know what we're talking about, so that might make them a little bit defensive. I think the third reason that technicians get a bad rap is just the way the industry operates. A lot of technicians are paid on flat rate or commission. What this means is that you're not paid hourly, you are paid by a book time that is set in stone. So let's say we're doing a water pump. Let's just pretend it's a water pump and it's supposed to pay 3 hours. Oh, well, you've never done one before. It's kind of unfamiliar. Maybe it's not a brand that technician normally works on, and it takes him 5 hours. Well, guess what? He's still only going to get paid 3 hours to do that job because that's what this book time says. On the flip side, if it takes him an hour and a half because he's done 2 dozen of them, well, guess what? That hour and a half is still going to pay him 3 hours because that's what the book says. But because of this pay scale, and I can say firsthand that sometimes it can be pretty stressful, because if you go to work as a technician on this pay system and there's no cars, guess what? You just don't make any money all day and you still have to stand there. So it's really easy for dishonest technicians to rip you off. They'll talk over your head and they'll oversell things. Maybe you have an oil leak that's just barely seeping. There's a little bit of dust stuck to it and he sells you a timing cover reseal. Did it really need to be done? Probably not, but he got to put that money in his pocket. Now I'll tell you guys, the vast majority majority of people that I work with and that I have worked with, and I've worked with a lot of technicians, I know a lot of people in the industry, they're good, honest people. They want to make an honest living, and they sleep good at night knowing they didn't rip you off. I have seen a very select few technicians that do rip people off. Like I said, it happens in all aspects of life. But I don't think this pay scale helps. I think it's a very easy formula if you don't have good character, you don't have any integrity, if you're not a good person, to start ripping people off because you know you can get away with it. I don't personally know how those people sleep at night, but I know it exists. I know that it happens out there. And even at shops where the technicians are paid hourly, it's almost never just a set hourly pay. There's almost always some sort of incentive built in to sell stuff. So I think the industry is just kind of geared in a way that makes it unfortunately pretty easy for dishonest people to rip other people off to pad their own paycheck. And the fourth and last thing I want to talk about in regards to why technicians get a bad rap is hack technicians. We all know it, we've all seen it. Again, most people have cars, so you ask most people, and the majority of them, they know of someone, or maybe it's happened to themselves, that their car was hacked together. To give you an example that you can easily visualize, let's just say that you go to the shop to get your alternator replaced, and let's say there's a bracket for something else that's in the way. So to do it correctly, you would have to move that bracket out of the way to get the alternator out. Well, the technician, like I said, is paid on that commission time, and he knows he can save time if he just breaks that bracket that's in front of it and then slips the alternator past, and he knows your car will still run fine. Well, guess what? You just totally hacked that job. And I mean, have some pride. If you're working on somebody's car, it's your job to do the repair the right way. So if you go ahead and you break that piece so you can make the job easier, you just hacked someone's car. Let's say there's an oil pan that's leaking and it doesn't have a gasket, it has silicone all the way around it. I've seen this before as well. I've seen cars come in and the RO will say customer states had repair done at a different shop and it's still leaking. I pulled the oil pan off, they didn't clean any of the old gasket off at all. It was two separate colors of silicone. The old one that originally leaked, all of that was still on there and dirty, and they just gooped up new gasket around. Why? Again, because it makes it quicker. But that makes you a hack, and that gives us as technicians a really bad name. So make sure you have some pride in your work. Do it the right way. If you don't have time to do it right, when are you going to have time to do it over? A lot of the times, people that hack stuff, it ends up biting them in the rear in the end anyway. So you guys, I hope this sheds some light a little bit on why technicians get such a bad rap. I want to stress once again that honestly, most of the people that I've worked with have been good, honest people, and that's why they're still in the industry. A lot of times, if you're a dishonest person, you're not in this industry very long. So hopefully we've addressed a little bit why technicians sometimes get a bad rap. Thanks for joining the Monday discussion, guys. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe down below, hit that bell button so you're notified every time we upload a video. Once we get to 500 subscribers, 500, we're giving you another tool right out of my toolbox. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.